whole chicken, it's $4.80 a kilo. If you just get the chicken breast in the packs already chopped up, $11 a kilo. If that chicken breast is then diced, $16 a kilo. Cooked chicken breast, so no flavouring, nothing on it, $40 a kilo.
Wow.
That's literally 10 times more expensive.
If you're working a job and you make $30 an hour, will you work an extra hour of your current day job to buy that chicken?
Hey Jace,
Hey, Gav.
welcome back.
Thank you.
On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the cost of convenience. This is something that I know personally I'm really passionate about because I used to be this person and then I had to change my mindset so that I could reach my goals. So I think it's going to be really good to run through some stuff today and cover all of that. In getting ready for this episode, a couple of stats that I found. Household spending in Australia totals $1.3 trillion on general living costs.
Wow.
And the convenience food market reaches $6.5 billion in 2025. On top of that, we all know Coles and Woolies both made $1 billion profit each. This is not about just food. It's about convenience as a whole and behaviour on that. But yeah, I think I'm really excited to run through some of this stuff today. Tell me what your thoughts are about this.
Look, I've had so many customers who pay for their convenience over efficiency and how much the money could save them. And at some instances, it's always okay to pay for convenience. I do it sometimes. Like today, I decided to go pay for parking instead of trying to find parking in the street because it's convenient for me. I know exactly where I'm going for that day, and it's easy for me. Where it becomes a problem, it's where it kind of overcycles and you keep kind of pushing the convenient button, and it'll cost you, substantial amounts overall, and that's where it becomes a bit of a slight issue at that point.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think prioritising convenience over the cost of things derails people's finances. And that's the real message that I want to drill home today. So in prepping for this, I did some research and just there's 2 points that really drive this home, right? So I went on to one of the retailers' websites, a supermarket website, and let's just see in this comparison how things get more expensive the more convenient it is, right? So I looked at chicken, just chicken in general, on to one of the supermarkets that I mentioned before. I won't say the actual name, and this will be different in wherever people look at this. But a whole chicken, it's $4.80 a kilo, right? If you just get the chicken breast in the packs already chopped up, mildly more, or definitely more convenient, so you don't have to do it yourself, $11 a kilo. So more than double what you're paying for a whole chicken. If that chicken breast is then diced, so literally some guys just cut it up, that's $16 a kilo.
That's ridiculous.
Cooked chicken breast, so no flavouring, nothing on it. It's literally just the chicken breast that's cooked and put in a packet, $40 a kilo.
Wow.
So that's literally 10 times more expensive than the whole chicken, 4 times more expensive than the chicken breast in the pack.
Wow.
I think that is really what we're driving home to people, is that cost adds up over time, and approaching things and saying, I just want the convenience of stuff regardless of what it costs me, or not thinking about that leaks out from food into other areas of their life as well. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, look, in terms of that breakdown, it really opens your eyes up to how much it actually can cost every day. Something that you kind of eat every day and that you're doing every day can cost you overall in a long haul. From $4.80 to $40 is a ridiculous number. And sometimes, I don't sometimes realize that when you're just shopping at Woolies or Coles or wherever it is you're shopping at, you don't realize it until you actually sit back and have a look at what the difference is and what you're actually paying for. And yeah, it's crazy.
What do you see with clients that you work with?
Yeah, look, it happens a lot. And why we talk about food is because it's something that you kind of do every day and you're utilizing every day, and it's an everyday expense, food. And in terms of the convenience for other specific things like Uber and everything like that, paying for convenience can be detrimental to your finances overall. Like, for example, like we were speaking about, chicken breasts, if you're using that every single day, it adds up, right? And if you buy a kilo worth of chicken versus a kilo worth of cooked chicken, you're getting the same amount, but for 10 minutes of convenience, it's not worth it at that point.
So what about this thing of, people say, I'm too busy, I'm working really hard, I've got kids, this is going on, that's going on, I just don't have time. What's your thoughts with all of that?
Look, there's a time and place for convenience and when it's worth it. Like I said, like today, like paying for the parking, it's worth it for me for that point. But there is always time to cook dinner. There's always time to go to your local food, like go to the actual restaurant rather than ordering Uber Eats. There's always somebody always has a spare 10 to 15 minutes to be able to go and do that. It's the psychological of this day and age where everything is so easily accessible, and it really hits with people's heads and really messes with their heads.
For me, I think there's different levels. I think there's people who are achieving their financial goals and there's people who aren't. So what I want the people to take away who aren't achieving their financial goals, what I want them to take away is that if you're prioritizing the convenience over the cost, not just in food, but in everything, then that is going to impact you reaching your financial goals.
Definitely.
That attitude and behavior, people's attitude and behavior when it comes to their finances dictates the success that they're going to have. So whether you use the excuse of, I'm too busy, I've got too much on, I'm working with the kids, that bleeds out into every other part of their life. I think the point that I want to make is that if your behaviour to life is, let's just go over what's convenient with disregard for everything else, you're never going to reach your financial goals. Once you get there and you start getting on track, then you can start adding more convenience. Then you can start buying some of your time back using that money that you've already got to start enjoying life. But when you do that too early, you're sacrificing things down the track. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. And I think you've spoken it. The key word there is what your financial goals are. If your financial goals are to, never have your savings go up and just live paycheck by paycheck, and that's convenient for you and you're having fun on that during that time, go ahead and do that if that's your financial goals. Most of my clients that see me, their financial goals are to build wealth and build a portfolio and do amazing things with their money. And so, having that goal as a mindset will always push them to be able to choose, not always choose the convenience route if it costs them money.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's really the point. When we started putting this show together, the people that we wanted to help most were the ones who are earning good money but are frustrated because their financial situation doesn't match the income they're earning. Money leaking out of their bank account because they're choosing convenience or they have some sort of other behaviour problem that they need to reel back in. That's where the opportunity is, not in earning even more money. So we spoke, when we talk about the cost of convenience, you spoke before about Uber Eats. I won't mention them specifically in this next thing, but actually in prepping for this, I got on and thought, let's actually do the maths and see what that looks like, right? And I know it's not the most appetizing thing. People listening to this, myself, I don't eat Maccas a lot. People listening to this probably aren't going to love Maccas either. But it's just the easiest comparison that I could do. So what I did was I went and had a look. How much would it cost for a family meal? So 4 burgers, 4 chips, 4 drinks. If I go and pick it up myself from Macca's, it's going to cost me $40.50. Okay, that's pretty much sign of the times where we're at the moment, right? But if I go on to a specific meal delivery app, obviously they charge more for the food, just in general. Then there's the service fee, the delivery fee, the priority fee, because I only order it when I'm hungry and I want it now, not cold. That same food, which was $40, is now $71.28. Oh. So $71 for Macca's, 4 burgers, 4 drinks, 4 chips. That's 55% more because you want it more convenient. The way that I look at that is I could have Macca's almost twice by literally just driving to the place and coming back. A lot of people don't do that.
No.
They're using these meal delivery places multiple times a week and in their head justifying it by saying, I'm working really hard, I had a tough day, the kids are hungry, I need to do that today and now. Tell me what your thoughts are.
Look, everyone's situation is different, and I've had a client who orders Uber about 10 times a week, which is quite excessive. And her excuse was she doesn't have a car. It's inconvenient for her to go walk at her local Macca's. It's like a 30-minute walk and back. But my answer to that is be prepped. Sorry, and if you're prepped, you will never run into these type of issues. If you go to your local grocery store every Sunday, every Saturday, whatever day you're free, and you prep for your week, there will be no time of that the following week where you're out of food and then you need to go then resort to Uber and delivery apps.
And if I cast my mind back to before I had achieved my financial goals, and I think about this, one of the things that I would say is convenience over cost. I would say to my wife, convenience over cost, because I work really hard. I don't want to spend any more time doing this. I don't want to think any more than what I have to. So if it's the most convenient, regardless of the cost, let's do it. Then over the years, my mind shifted and changed. And the question that I started asking myself is, when it comes to spending money, I ask myself, does this provide value? And so you always have to give up something when you're spending money. And now I think, does this provide value for what I'm giving up? So in that example where you're talking about Uber Eats and meal delivery stuff, I'm not saying that you can never have Uber Eats again. No. I'm not saying that. If some people decide that that has the most value for them, so that's what they're going to do. But other people, when you're spending $200-300 a week on that, and you look at the other side and say, well, what could I have instead of it? Is it really worth that $300 a week because I don't have a car or I can't be bothered driving or I didn't do any prep? And you extrapolate that out over a year, that's 10, 15 grand in a year that you look back on and you've got nothing to show for it.
Exactly.
So that's the biggest takeaway that I think I had in changing my mindset. The other point that I want to make is that businesses and marketers are trying to extract as much money out of us as consumers as possible. And one of the ways that they do that is to make things slightly more convenient and then charge way more for it. Yeah. And that chicken is an example. It's possible you could go get a whole chicken and cut it up and you'd be far better off. Does that take an extra 15 minutes? Some people don't know how to. Does that take an extra 15 minutes? Yeah, it does. But what you're really saying is that you're paying up to 10 times more because you don't want to do that or you can't be bothered doing it. Yep. And that part bleeds out into every other part of life. Yep. Do you have any other comments on that?
Well, I like that when you're saying, when you're using time versus how much money you save on that time. For me personally, I should deconstruct it even more and say if you're working a job and you make $30 an hour, will you work an extra hour of your current day job to buy that chicken?
I love that.
Right?
I love that.
And most people will say, no, I don't want to work the extra hour for just for the same piece of chicken that we just paid for. Then that's what I like to say to my customers. Whatever they're making, whatever income they're on, if you're making $50 an hour, would you work the extra $50? Would you work the extra hour to then buy that piece of chicken? Because then you can afford it.
Yeah, exactly. And when you do that, are you doing the maths after tax?
Yeah, exactly. It's right. You're getting $50 an hour on paper. After tax, you're probably getting $30 to $35 an hour. Would you still work that out?
Yeah. Hour and a half now, basically, for that extra for it. That's a really good mindset shift and a way to think about it. If you've got, $50 an hour, let's assume that that's how much you're getting paid after tax. And we're talking about McDonald's before, the difference in that $30, $40. Are you going to work an extra 45 minutes because you can't be bothered driving 5 minutes down the road?
Exactly.
It's a really good point because and I don't know if this will actually make it into the episode or not. Ned will tell me afterwards whether we're going to cut this part out. But when I was coming back from the US, I went on holiday with the kids. And as we're walking off the plane, we walked past the business class stuff and we just flew economy because we had points and we did that, right? And the two kids that I've got saw that there's all these beds laid out and all of this stuff. And I actually had looked beforehand on how much the flights were to fly back because I hate sitting in economy. I hate, this, I'm not pretentious, but, it's just a pain in the ass. And so at any opportunity where I can, where there's value for it, I think, okay, where can I upgrade it? Can I use points to upgrade? All of that sort of stuff. As we're walking back through, the kids are like, I can't believe this. They feel like they've got ripped off because there was business seats on the plane. They've never flown it before. So then when I told them, look, those seats were 10 grand each for a one-way flight back. So that's $40,000. If somebody came up to me and said, sit in an economy seat for 14 hours for 40 grand, would I do it? I would not bat an eyelid at that. I would 100% do that. That is like the perfect thing.
Yep.
And so, again, that convenience or being able to justify something and say, is it worth it? That's a really good lens that I want to encourage people to look through.
For sure.
All right, so Jace, we've spoken about a lot. Just to recap, I think there's 4 key strategies that we've spoken about. The first one is just being prepared. So whether it comes to food, whether it comes to when you purchase something, being more prepared so you don't have to pay extra charges for it or pay that convenience tax.
Yep.
The second one is asking yourself that value question before you buy something. Is this providing value to me? The third one is looking through that lens of, am I willing to work harder or an extra hour or an extra 10 hours to actually pay for that thing? And the fourth one is just having a general awareness that businesses, marketers are constantly trying to play the convenience angle so that you can pay more money to them. I think the fifth one, if I was talking to somebody who's sitting across from me saying, big takeaway from this and what I want them to learn from my experience is that changing their behaviours and habits from focusing on convenience to focusing on value seems like a really big, painful exercise.
Yep.
I can guarantee that the people who are thinking about changing their financial habits, the fear of that change is far greater and feels far more painful than the actual reality of it. So rather than trying to make a huge change all at once, cut out everything that's fun, everything that's convenient, pick 1, 2, or 3 things that are costing them the most money, that are the stupidest things, and start with that first. That would be the 5th point and the last takeaway that I want everyone to have.
And like what I'm just going to add to that is that, with these points that we're talking about today's episode is it's really hard for somebody to sit back by themselves and look at their finances and see those points that we're making. So I do encourage somebody to reach out to us to have a chat because we see that lens every day with our customers. And it's really hard to pick that up by yourself, and it's really hard to make that change by yourself, especially if you're not talking to anybody about it. So I do encourage people to, have a chat with me, have a chat with you, and we can help you point those points out for sure.
Yeah, and the best analogy that I can give for that is like it's a mirror that's reflecting back at you. And some conversations we've had with clients are we can justify a certain expense and there is value there for them. And they're pleasantly surprised that we're not trying to cut that out of their life. Because at the end of the day, you have to live. You can't just exist. No. And so I think, that is a really good point. So if anyone's listening to this and they want help, they can reach out to us. If not, continue to get some awesome value from 2 handsome-looking blokes. Yes. So, Jace, thanks for an awesome episode today. Hope everyone at home or wherever you're listening or watching has enjoyed this as well. Can't wait to see you in the next one.
Awesome. Thanks, Gav.